How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to part 23 of our multiplayer game with Unity and Node.js. Today we're going to be showing you how you can transition your players back from the game to the main menu. So we have a couple states where this could happen. It could happen maybe the server has an issue and it shuts down when somebody's in the game lobby or they're in the game and they need to go back. This is super helpful during testing as well. When you're just coding up different things, you can just kind of do your Control S to save on your server, and then you're immediately putting players back, and you don't have to like really fully restart things in Unity, which is super nice for iteration. The second one is maybe they're in game and somebody leaves. So I'm going to be showing you how to add a little check to our game server, as well as add a new setting to our game lobby settings to check to see if there's enough players even playing the game. This could be in our example, we're going to have two players playing. One player is going to lose, so we don't have enough players to play. And then, so it's actually going to kick the other player out of the lobby. And this is super helpful if you have a game that ends, right? So at the end of the game, maybe they reach the max score. We're going to start booting people back out. So this hopefully should get you going where you need to go. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up Unity here. I actually have the online scene open, and the first thing we're going to do is actually add some in-game like UI overlay that we're going to end up hooking up. So if you want to open up the online scene there, I'm actually kind of lazy. I'm going to duplicate using Control D here, the canvas for the game lobby, and I'm going to rename this to just Game UI. We should already have all the settings for that set up. If you want to open this up, you can delete the background. And to help you just kind of understand what we're doing here, I'm just going to toggle game lobby off for now. Let's change this to game UI so you understand what's going on. And we're actually going to add ourselves a button. So I'm going to go into UI here. I'm going to use the Text Mesh Pro button. If you, for some reason, are using an older version, if you don't have Text Mesh Pro, you could use a button as well. I'm just adding a button. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, we're going to add that. I'm going to give this a height of 50 and 200. And let's throw this guy up here in the top left. I'm just holding down Shift and Alt, and you can see that it changes the pivots. So holding down Shift just changes the pivots. Holding down Shift Alt will also move it to that location. Super handy when you're doing UI. This was 25 in, I believe. So I'm just going based off where the title was here. The title is moved down by 25 with a 50 height. So if I do 75 here, it should set it right below it. So, and let's just call this quit. Beautiful. Okay. Alrighty, so the first step we're going to be doing is when the server kind of saves or the server restarts or crashes, it kind of kicks players back out. So let's head on over to our server here. And the first thing we're going to do is just go into your server stuff here. Let's just change this to 1 for now, so that way we can go inside the game. We'll save that. I'm going to just boot up the server as well. Beautiful. And we will leave these classes. If you want to go open these 4, these are the 4 that we're going to be adding today. I just wanted to make sure that that I had the correct ones open. Beautiful. So when you save, what's going to happen is, so if I just hit Control S now, I have NodeMon running. It's going to restart and just completely restart the server. So what happens client-wise is you actually get a disconnect message. So if you go look at all our events, we actually don't have a disconnect or a close event. So we're going to be adding one of those. It's just kind of, it's very similar to the open event where it's kind of like a registered like keyword for Socket.io, and I believe there's actually a couple as well. There we go. when your computer locks up, eh? Cool. So this one is just called close. And we'll do our standard section stuff here. And what we're actually be doing is we're going to be setting up a method of basically two booleans or two flags. They're essentially going to be these toggles to tell us whether we're actually connected to the server or not. So while we're using it for this specific case to know if the server shuts down to boot people back to the main menu, you can use it in other checks to see if somebody's actually even connecting to your server as well. So in order to do that, we're going to scroll up a bit here. And right below our spawnable stuff here, we have our client ID. I'm just going to drop this like that so it's a little bit more standard with what we're going to type. And we're going to add another public static bool, and it's going to be called isConnected. So the reason why it's public and it's static is, like I said, if you want to use this in the future in other classes, then you just need to do network client.isConnected, and it will, you don't have to worry about having a reference to this class. Super handy. Same reason with the client ID why we have something similar. Cool. So that's going to be a get, but it's going to be a private set that only this class can do. And then we're going to create one more that's private, so it's only going to be used by this class. It's going to be static, just so it's very same, and we're going to call this old is connected. Basically, this is like what happened last frame, essentially. We'll do a get and a set, which are essentially two private gets and a private set as well. Okay, cool. So in our close here, we are going to do network client dot is connected is equal to false. And I'm going to just drop this again. This is just auto formatting. So essentially we're going to say, okay, we got the close event from our server. Let's set that we're false now. And if you don't have this update function, by the way, you're going to want to re-add it. We actually are going to be using it. So if it's not there, you guys should, from the very first starting tutorials, have this set up so we can override it. It should be a virtual or an abstract function or whatever we did originally in the very first set of tutorials. So hopefully it's still just sitting here because we are going to use it today, which is yay, super handy. Okay, and we're actually going to use it right now. So we're going to do a check. Basically, if network client, if the old is connected, and not network container, and is connected, we're going to say if it's not connected. So basically, if we are connected last frame and now we're not connected, we basically disconnected. And so we're going to say that this old connection now is set to false. In this case, we've been disconnected from the server, so the next time we come back to the server, we're actually going to have a new ID. So you can either put this to just two blank quotes. You could also do string.empty if you want. Whatever flows your boat there. And then we're going to set up a function called return to main menu. And we're going to use this a bunch, so that's why it's in a function. And let's go set that up right now. So I'm going to scroll you down here. And right under our attempt to join here, let's do a private void return main menu. Beautiful. All right, so basically a recap is we get the close event from the server that we've turned off. We're going to set our current state of connected to off, and then the update will pick it up probably next frame that there's been a change, and it's going to turn us back to the main menu. So what we need to do, a couple things. We need to go over basically any network identities that you've spawned in your game need to go bye-bye. So we need to clean that up. Basically reset that for the next time we connect. And then we also need to unload us and load us back into the main menu. So we're going to do a for each. And this is going to be over server objects. We'll call this key value pair because that's basically what it's returning here. We're just going to do a double check that it's not null here, because last thing we want to do is try and access the game object where it's null. If it's not null, we're going to use destroy. Sometimes you'll run, there's destroy immediately as well. Sometimes you'll run into issues trying to remove things the same frame. So if you ever get errors just using destroy immediately, you can just use destroy. Essentially, it's going to wait until the end of the frame and then remove it when it's safe. Okay, cool. So we're going to go over basically all the server objects and just remove them. And then just to be safe, we're going to go like this and say clear from our dictionary. We're going to then grab our scene management, and we're going to load level scene list main menu. Say level name. Beautiful. So this shouldn't be new. This is stuff we did before, like up here. Basically, you could just copy paste this and revert this if you really wanted to. We'll go to scene manager .instance .unload level. That's our level. If you have multiple levels in your game, you have to determine maybe in your scene list actually it stores what levels are currently open. That's for up to you. For right now, we can just assume that we only have the one level. But most games will have multiple levels, so you have to have some sort of way to store that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do one extra thing where we're actually going to grab the main menu manager. So this is some like, oh, don't worry about the error. So in the main menu scene here, we have a main menu manager, and if you recall from the sign-in stuff, it kind of has like multiple things. It has like this sign-in panel, and then it has like this join panel for when you're fully connected. And when we actually switch that scene, it's going to want to start showing us the sign-in. It's also going to want to start trying to connect to like the server and stuff. And we don't really need a whole lot of that. It's actually probably better if the whole sign-in was its own scene or just like completely out of the way of the menu, which would make it a little bit easier. In our case, looking over the code, it was actually a lot easier if we kind of skipped over a lot of the start stuff. So that when it starts, it's going to turn a lot of things off, and then it's going to wait for this on sign-in complete, and then it's going to load in the online level, which is already loaded for us. So basically, we just need to like call the on sign-in complete. And while we're here, yeah, we'll call this, sorry, and then it'll open up the join container. So we're gonna find, now this is a very slow, okay? If I haven't stated this before, find object of type is, it has to search through the whole hierarchy, and it's like stupidly slow. So try, and if there's a way that you could store this anywhere, definitely do that. This is definitely not the best way to do it, but it's definitely the quickest. That is for sure. So we're going to call the on sign in complete here. Okay, cool. So if we go back, and I got the server started up, this should be okay here. We're going to, don't save that. We're going to open up intro here. Oh yeah, we'll just hang on a sec. Let's turn that off for now, because we're gonna use this later, so that's why it doesn't turn off. So we'll do that. Okay. We'll fire this up. Let's see here. We'll log into our database. Now we're in the main menu. We're gonna hit join. We're inside of a game, and we're gonna open up the server. And I'm just gonna say I made a change. I'm gonna hit Control S, and you're gonna see here that it does not work. Let's see here. So it's going to switch, and then it's going to make a connection to the server and change our ID. So let's see what went wrong. Okay. Did I spell close right? We will see if I spelled close right here. Should have it correct. Am I missing something? Do. Oh, I know what I forgot. Okay, sorry. I forgot to set if it was connected. Okay, that would make sense. Okay, sorry. Hopefully I didn't lose you guys there. Basically, in our register here, which is really funny because it was right below it. I don't know how I didn't do it. We're gonna turn on our connected flag. So we actually never turned on. So things when you initialize a Boolean, it's just going to start out false in most languages. And in this case, it was just basically never connected. So if you were to register, we're going to assume that you're connected. And then what do we got here? We got old is connected is true as well. And this just stops bugs, right? We don't want this to auto fire if there was an issue right off the bat. So that's why this is set to true, that you quote unquote were connected. Okay. We should get our desired results now. Okay, so we're gonna log in. Beautiful. We're gonna join. We're gonna bring the server up. I'm gonna hit save, and beautiful. So what happens here is that it unloads the game level. Online is already here. You'll see we don't have any duplicates either, which is super nice. No duplicate scenes. And then you're gonna be like, I'm clicking away and the join now button's disabled. So let's go ahead and fix that. So what that is when I was setting up this sort of stuff, we actually wait until the online is on before it's interactable. I'm gonna assume that it is indeed connected here. You could probably do a check to see if you're connected or something before you could start the Q button as well. But if we come back here, we hit play. Beautiful. We do that, and we're just going to kind of stop the server, and we can go in and keep doing as many games as we want. Okay, cool. So that's the first step. The second step is like quitting from the game, or quitting from the game and then ending the game for the other players. Cool. So if we go to our online here, we have our game UI that we set up really quickly, and inside the code object we have game lobby. So let's go ahead and create a new script. So I'm going to open this bad boy up here. I'm just going to create a new script. I'm going to call it in-game UI. We'll add that. Sure, we'll add it. You guys probably want it in the repo. Just joking. Yeah, you obviously do. Okay, so this is going to be a mono behavior. Cool. That's going to bring our stuff in. And it's going to be very like similar to Game Lobby. And in theory, you could probably, when I design UIs, I like to have things separated, which is why I have the two classes. Some people don't like that. Some people just like one super class. That's up to you. I mean, but basically, you can just come in here and copy all this gut stuff and paste it. Make sure we bring in our network client stuff, and we'll do that. Beautiful. Yeah, and I think we're actually good. Like we can just like basically use this. The only thing we need to change is that this UI container isn't on when we're in lobby. It's actually on when we're in game. So just make sure that you do adjust those two and flip those two, and we should be ready to rock. Cool. So we're gonna connect this. In-game UI. We'll pop container there. We'll turn this on for good sake and save. Okay, so now we have a button. We need to hook this button up to something. So let's go ahead and create a function. So if we come back to in-game UI here, we're going to create a public void on quit. You don't need the asterisk, nor do you need the space. And let's go ahead and hook that button up. So the idea is that you're going to click this button. This button then feeds to our code. So we're going to drag and drop there. Select in-game UI and on quit. And now those two are working. So when you click the button, it's going to go ahead and call this piece of code that does nothing. And so we're going to need reference to the network client. Because they're in the same scene, we can just go ahead and grab a reference to it. And then we're going to do network, and we're actually going to create a similar function called onQuit. And it's going to show red because that one has not been created yet. So let's go back to network client. We'll scroll down here. And I'm gonna put this above return to menu because it's private. But basically I'm gonna have this public void on quit. Beautiful. And we're gonna emit to the server that we're quitting. So similar to attempt to join lobby, we're gonna emit a quit game. And then we'll return ourselves to the main menu, which is why we put this in there, which is super handy. So now this should work for you. All we need to do is make sure that in the inspector, that guy is hooked up. So let's let Unity load back. You'll see it's looking for a network client. We'll drag and drop in there, and we're ready to go. So now we have a new event for our server that we want to quit the game. So let's go ahead and open up our server, because right now what will happen is if we play the game, for example, we type in my super hard to get password and I hit quit, you'll see that we come back. You'll see that we swapped to, we left the general server and we went to game server, but we're not actually like, we're still in this lobby. So while we're visually in the client, not out of the lobby, we're visually out of the lobby in the client, we're not actually out of the lobby on the server, which is why we created that super handy onQuit event. So in connection here, we're going to do socket.on. I'm going to say quit game. It's going to give us function. Even though we don't have data, it's just good practice to write it all the same. It's a little bit easier. And what we're going to do is, in the connections here, if you haven't been here a while, we have access to basically we have the connection, we have socket, server, and player, which all come from connection. You can also grab the lobby from there, but due to bugs, you don't store the lobby up here because it changes all the time, which is why you see connection lobby. So we can say server dot on switch lobby, and you're like, whoa, what's this? And so way back in the day, we made an on switch lobby right here at the bottom. Basically, it takes in a connection with the ID you want to go to. And that's kind of how we are putting people in the lobby. So we can utilize the same functionality to pull people out, which is super handy. And if you've done the changes to IDs, we now know the server is, well, it's a stored ID that we can, that's called general server, and we can grab that from the server, which is super handy. So we can say server.onSwitchLobby. Like I said, this is going to take a connection, which we have reference to up above. And then we're going to say we want to send them to server.generalServerID. Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to save there. And you'll notice that I saved while the thing was running. And this is why we did the first step. It honestly, like, most of the time when I'm coding stuff on the server, it is so handy to just have the client stay. And now I'm able to stay, and I'm able to do my functionality. And if you see, we left general, we entered a lobby, then I hit quit, so we left the lobby and went back to general. And if I go join again, you'll see we go back in. We're actually going into the same lobby. And I'm going to show you here in a second how to end that lobby. Because in theory, there's no one in there. We don't need it to run. You're just going to have a bunch of ghost lobbies, which is stupid. But I've had my game running this whole time, which is super handy. Okay, so now we need to close this server. Because it's like I said, this server doesn't need to be open. Or you have things like you had 2 players and you need a minimum of 2 players to play or something is going to be a good example. So you want to boot that second player out, just like buddy rage quit, show them a victory, whatever you want to do sort of thing. So what we're going to do is go to our game lobby settings. We're going to create a min players. And this is how many players are required before the lobby shuts down. And we're just going to add that in there. We're going to hit save. This is called when we create the lobby here. So I'm going to go ahead and make this a 2-person lobby now, as well as it requires 2 players in order to work. Okay. So that we put that before level data, just so you know. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into the game lobby and we're going to handle the on leave. So if you look at how on switch lobby works, it goes into the current lobby and calls on leave lobby, which is going to come in, not down below. It's going to be up here. Here we go. It's going to come in, it's going to call this version of the on leave lobby, and then it's going to call the base one, which has all the connection stuff set up. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to determine if we have enough players to continue the game or not. There we go. And the best way to do this is to copy pasta here, this little check. So we're going to copy here. We're going to copy, basically this check is taking how many connections are in, right? If I leave the lobby, my connection's gone, right? Because we've done this after the super, that guy is technically out of the lobby. Okay, so we should have the correct number of people left in the lobby here. We're going to change max to min though. And we're going to say, instead of equals, we're going to say less than. So we're going to say, if we have 1 connection and we require 2, run this stuff. And we're going to say lobby.connections. Dot for each. We're going to say connection. We're going to do a double check to make sure the connection. Sometimes you run into issues where there's a certain case that happens and the connection that's still in the lobby is undefined now. some reason. Happens time to time, so if we're just going to do a quick undefined check. In theory, this should be super quick, shouldn't happen or whatever, but just safety first. So we're going to say connection socket dot emit, and previously we have this function called unload game. So if I go back to the game code and I scroll up a bit, you'll see we have load game, and we should have one called unload game as well. Which we're going to create. I thought it was a default one. I am so sorry. It's been a long day. Anyway, so we're going to emit this unload game. So essentially we're going to tell any players still left in the lobby to unload their game, and then we're all good. So, and then what we're going to do is we're going to say connection.server on switch lobby, the connection from the list, and then connection, and it has server reference to the general server ID. Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to tell them to unload the game, and then we're going to tell them to swap back to general server lobby, whatever you want to call it. Okay, beautiful. Let's add unload game. Let's do it right below load game just because it's very similar. So we're going to have unload game. And then we're actually, it's super easy, we're going to say return to menu. This is why I created the function call. Just makes it much easier. And let's give this a try. So this will probably cause me errors because it's trying to recompile while it's running. So let's go ahead, we'll run that bad boy. At the same time, I'm going to run a different one off screen. Let's just sign in really quickly. So I'm going to join now. It's going to wait off screen. Signing in, I'm joining. So, you know, just like before or whatever. So if I hit quit, you don't see it off screen, but it's going to tell me that the two players have left the lobby and both entered general, which is super handy. And then if I go in now and join, we're actually joining the same one, but I'm just going to show you from a different state. So if I close it on the other client, you're going to see that I get booted out now, which is super handy. Okay, guys, I totally forgot. I never did the closing down stuff, so I had to go make sure I double checked and still had it, because I've done it before. I just was like, oh no, and I went and did the pre-stuff here. I didn't have it. Okay, so the next and last step is to make sure we close down the server. Just give me a second. I gotta boot this bad boy back up. There we go. All right, cool. So what we're gonna do is basically the only way to close down our server right now is when you disconnect. We kind of have this like delete thing. We're gonna kind of turn this into a function call that we can call called close down lobby. And we're actually going to make it a little more generic on that it's going to close down based on its ID. We're going to say server is equal to this. And I'm super lazy, and I'm actually just going to cut this. And I'm basically going to replace closing lobby index with there. And we should be good to go there. Now I can call server dot close down lobby. Going to require an index, which is our current lobby index. Beautiful. Okay, so what we're going to do is right now the lobby boots everybody out. So now it's kind of sitting at 0 people. So we need a way to kind of tell the server, hey, I'm done, close me down, sort of thing. And so the best way to do that is to come up to the top here and we're actually going to create this function that we can set. So it's going to be a variable or a property, whatever you want to call it in JavaScript. It's going to be equal to a function. This is blank for now. And in our update here, we're going to do at the bottom, we're going to say close lobby because no one is here. If you have a game lobby state, maybe you have an end game that you might have to also call it here. It's up to you. Basically, we're just going to check to see if the lobby here has any connections. If it doesn't have a single connection, we're going to say lobby end game lobby. And because we set this to like a blank function, if we forget to set it, it's just going to kind of do nothing for us, which is super nice. But now this is something that we need to set. So if we go back to server here and we go down to our on attempt to join game, where we create the new lobby, we're going to want to set this function call to call close down lobby. So let's do it right after we have game lobby here. We're going to say game lobby dot end game lobby. It's going to be equal to a function call. Inside there, we're going to do server dot close down lobby, which is going to be the game lobby ID. Cool. So this will replace our blank function with a function call that's going to call close lobby for us. So if we start here and we boot these guys all up here really quick, and we sign in and we join, sign in, we join, we're inside the game. So right now we have 2 guys that have left general and have joined AYK. This guy's going to quit. Maybe you ended the game. You're going to see that 2 people have now left AYK to join general and closing down lobby AYK. So before, what would have happened is if I hit join again, it would have told us that we left general and went back to AYK. But now you can see that it's actually generating us a new lobby, which is super handy. You're not going to have ghost lobbies, that sort of stuff. So basically firing up lobbies that we need of, and they're going to close down as they're done. They're done, or people have left, whatever. And that kind of concludes it. That's how you kind of transition people from out of game in the main menu. There's a variety of ways that could happen. If you might have more cases inside your game that works. And yeah, so we'll see you guys next time. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. We reached 1K subscribers recently, so congratulations to everybody that subscribed. Thank you very much. Super appreciative of that. And let's get rocking on some new tutorials now. Holidays are over. Let's get her going. Hey guys, I just wanted to make sure that I give a nice shout out to all my Patreons over on Patreon. And they're going to be in the following list for you. Timothy McCoon. Hey everyone, if you guys liked the video, make sure you guys click that subscribe button, give it a like, and make sure to comment. It really helps out. And if you guys are looking to support the project further, I also have my Patreon, which will be linked in the description down below. Thank you, and have a good day.